Sucio Talk. Chilling out. Sucio Talk podcast coming at you September 12th, 2022. Shout out to all the chefs, cooks, front of the house, servers, somms, dishwashers, everyone just doing it out there at restaurants and all the hospitality outlets all across the world, even the ones that don't get a lot of credit. And those are, the hospital chefs, the school chefs. Those guys are important too, and I think it's easy to get lost in the creative side of things. And we need to understand that at the end of the day, we need people to cook at hospitals. That is an important thing. And the better chefs we can get in these positions, the better we'll be, the better off we'll be, right? So Truffle Shuffle, SF.com. Truffle Shuffle is the first ever sponsor of Sucio Talk podcast. You can check them out at truffleshufflesf.com. All right, that's virtual cooking classes. I understand that most of you probably know how to cook a little bit, so the idea is that you order this for your grandma, your aunt, anybody that you think enjoys cooking. And I got to tell you, I did a dinner with Connie. She's been on the podcast a couple episodes ago, and when you go to people's houses that do Truffle Shuffle classes, you open up the drawer of recipes, and it's like 50 sheets, 50 different recipes that they've cooked with Truffle Shuffle, over since the pandemic began in 2020 when we did the first ever video out of their house. Now they got a warehouse. So blowing up the game. Shout out to them. Went on Shark Tank. Won Shark Tank. Got a deal with my man Mark Cuban. All right. Shout out to Q Harrison Terry also. Wrote the Metaverse Handbook. Wrote the NFT handbook in like 2 months. So definitely a robot, definitely not a human. That guy, Q Harrison Terry, look him up. He's the man. So nothing but love here on Sucio Talk for Truffle Shuffle SF, the first official sponsor of Sucio Talk. I'm talking also to Hoops Vineyard up in Napa to also be a sponsor on the show. Make a little cash out here. If you guys listen to this show on Spotify, you can make a monthly donation to the show. All that does is, cover the cost of the show, covers the expense on the electric bill, to create the show and all the equipment and all that. I definitely want to make this a free show, so if you don't want to fucking donate, do not donate. Don't feel bad. You know what I mean? A podcast not having funding nowadays, that's first world problems. We got a lot more shit going on in the world, so I'm not worried about it. But I will eventually make this show the bomb, baby, and, make it my living. Be kind of like a street Bourdain, you know what I mean? Going around, eating, talking to chef friends. I'm thinking about launching some exclusive content on Instagram. I've been looking at prices there, and, I saw some people charging $1.99. So I think, 99 cents a month for exclusive content. Now I'm thinking, is that every day, every week? I don't know. I got to get myself a social media person. Putting this out there right now. Social media people, video producers, podcast producers, if you're looking to get involved with somebody who's passionate about spreading the stories of our industry, of our life, a little bit better than the Bear FX depiction. Not knocking it. It was a great show. But there's people that live this shit every day. And I was talking to my homeboy, and he brought up the point, when is there going to be a Hulu show about the guy who has to live with 10 other guys, and they work 2 jobs, 7 days a week? No one ever makes a show about that. You know what I mean? It's kind of the glorified mental illness kind of thing. But I think that there's some people in this country that work, dishwashers, immigrant workers that come through. They don't have, they may be depressed, but they don't have, that's not a deterrent for them, right? That's not something that they're like, I'm depressed, I'm not going to go to work today. They have to go to work. You have to do the thing. So think about them, next time you're in a shell and you don't really want to go out or do anything like that. I think there's people that are forced to go out and do what they need to do regardless of how they feel. And that is a very important discipline that even I fail at sometimes. So definitely, if you're out there trying to work hard at your goals, just know that you're not alone, okay? Sucio Talk's got your back. Sucio's got your back. And we'll get through it together, you know? There's a war going on outside. There's fucking the queen passed away. You know, a lot of people are hating on her. The memes came out right away. Drug dealers were given discounts in the UK based on that death. Did she represent a lot of hateful shit? Yeah, for sure. But I think she definitely also represented like something very old school that we don't see very often. You know, there's not that many kings and queens anymore in this world. So just the fact that it's 2022 and we're talking about a queen dying, like that's pretty fucking crazy. You know, I don't think anybody in this world would fully agree with anyone, right? We're all wrong and right at the same time. So I'm not going to sit here and judge that woman like, yeah, she could have done a lot of things differently, but could she? You know what I mean? Princess Diana tried to do shit differently. Look what happened to her. You know what I mean? They will straight murk you, dog. Like they got no issue, right? So, you know, I'm not making excuses for her, but at the end of the day, I don't fucking know her, so I don't care. All right? It's a big figure, passed away. Shouldn't talk ill of the dead. So, shout out to her. Hopefully, she made it to the other side. She doesn't like haunt the world. If the queen was a ghost, would she haunt only the UK or would she haunt the world? No one will ever know. All right. So I was thinking about this the other day. I think that we put too much of an emphasis on artists, music, movies, TV shows, things of that nature. And obviously they're in the public eye, you know. Some that's what they want. The art of acting, right, is a practice almost as old as time. Like how did they entertain themselves in the beginning of time? It definitely had to do with some kind of acting out in a certain way, right? So I'm not knocking it, but I am saying that we have to show the craftsmen of this world the same respect that we show an artist, right? So the plumbers, the electricians, the guys who take out the garbage, like those are crafts too, right? The steel workers, things like that. We're losing that to people wanting to be influencers, right? And I always say, like, if I'm doing a podcast, who the fuck is making the sauce, right? I'm a chef. I'm still a chef. I do events here and there. I'm not a chef of a restaurant, right? Because frankly, I don't know how to be how to work in this new age. Because to me, I don't think that an 8-hour shift, I don't think that you can get to where you want to get to with food only working an 8-hour shift. You know, is that wrong of me to think or say? I don't know. Like, to me, 8 hours ain't shit. Like, you know, I should be able to work 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours if I'm there to achieve a goal, you know. If you spend your time thinking about the money behind something or getting paid for every single minute, every single second of your, you know, work or whatever it may be, I think you cut yourself short from what you can achieve later if you sort of struggle through it a little bit. Everybody needs a struggle, and while I get that everyone should be paid fair wages and, you know, everybody should have all the things that they need, I don't think that an employee should put everything on their employer and say, here, solve this. Like, people want to work 3 days a week now, and if the place doesn't pay, you know, a high enough hourly wage for that to happen, then they're the bad guy. You know what I mean? To me, it's like if you have an issue with a one job, right? Like, I'll give you an example. One of my buddies owns a restaurant. He's telling me that he just made a woman a manager, right? And she made more money waiting the tables than actually managing the restaurant. That's always been true. So she's like, oh, let me serve 2 days a week and step down from management. Nah, that's a little gray area. You can't be not a manager one day and then a manager the next day, you know? So you know what you sign up for when you move into management. As long as everything's crystal clear, written in paper, signed, whatever, emails, have the facts, have everything written out, salary, expectations, things like that. That way no one gets upset when something doesn't happen, you know. I find that there's a lot of worker-employee issues going on in the world, and I will say, yeah, there is unfair employers out there who use you and make you feel bad when you take a day off, make you feel bad when you're on vacation, call you on your day off, you know what I mean? Call you in the morning at 5 in the morning because they just woke up and saw some bad news about the restaurant or whatever the fuck it was, and it's when you are working in that kind of environment, you're so close that sometimes, most times, there's sort of a negative thing that happens. The mentor-mentee relationship suffers. And I wonder why that is. There's a lot of CDCs right now, sort of angry with their mentor. And I think that these conversations need to be had, A lot of this came up during my tour of the South, of the Sean Brock guys, all the Sean Brock ex-CDCs, sous chefs, he had his issues, things happened, and I think that it goes both ways. For one, we as cooks need to understand that while our chef is our mentor, that is still a human being. He has kids, he has parents, he has problems. When he wakes up in the morning, you're not the first priority, right? You're about 10th in line, 11th in line, and you need to be okay with that. I think the days are over of having sort of a really close relationship with the person that you work with. Those days are going away, just because there's a lot more red tape, I think, and there's a lot more of a definition as to what a worker is and what an employer is, right? So as we start to define this thing, we need to embrace it, accept it, and, move on. And again, we can't put all of our problems on our boss to fix. I see it a lot. I mean, I saw it when I was at the charter. I'd be in there chilling, and then I'd have an employee come in and be like, I don't feel that well today. And I would tell them, hey, if you don't feel good today, you need to let me know, because I expect nothing but excellence, nothing but 120% that you're going to give me. If you're not going to give me that, then just don't come in, right? That's just the way I felt at the time. And they'd come up to me and say, hey, I'm not really feeling myself, All right, cool. I would always help, whatever prep needed to happen, take it easy on them if shit didn't go the right way, right? And then I was like, well, if you're at 80%, can we pay you 80%? And I know that the answer to that question would be outrage. What do you mean? You're going to pay me less? Well, you just came in and told me that your performance is not going to be so good today because you're upset about X, Y, and Z, right? So doesn't it go both ways? I think that's what's happening here. It's like the tables always turn one way too much. It's always like Democrat, Republican, chefs, cooks, fucking employees, employer. We need to fucking be on the same plane because we are the same people. Deep down inside, we have all the same fears. And I just think that we don't talk about these things enough. If I'm doing a podcast, who's going to skim the stock? That's one of the things I wrote here. So while I become this creator, artist, entertainer, I'm thinking to myself, how can I, coach the next generation of cooks not being in a kitchen? And that's what's really important to me. And I think I have a lot of insight and, I have a lot of expertise when it comes to the field of culinary arts. So I'm going to say right now, I'm a chef consultant, chef traveler. Do I write? Yes. It's not publishable yet, I don't think. And that's mainly just being self-conscious of it. sometimes I want to create an alter ego that nobody knows is me. Like, it's just like my pen name or something. And that might come, that might not. I think that's why I created Sucio, this character in my life, because I felt that while it was totally me, I couldn't be Sucio in certain places where I was working, right? So I sort of had to put myself away and be David, right? And then put the Sucio away. But now I'm like, fuck it, I just need to be myself at all times, never stopping, all right? As far as podcast guests go, I talked to Adalia Cole, Hungry Hungry Hooker. She is a photographer for the food industry. I mean, she's shot for Michelin. She's shot for Food and Wine Magazine, Bon Appetit, things like that. So shout out to her. She's making a lot of waves. She's been doing it for like 2 years only and just shitting on everybody who's been doing it for longer. I mean, she's humble about it, but I'm just going to say right now, she's a badass. She was on the podcast. We did like a 2.5 hour show. I'm going to take it back, edit it, cut it, make it nice for you guys, and then we'll drop that next week. So be prepared to hear about her time in the adult industry, as well as transitioning over into being a photographer, a food photographer at that. And something about the adult industry, I think that this podcast is open enough to have people that have worked in that field on the show to talk about the things that go on in the show. It's very interesting shit. And like, who are we to judge somebody for wanting to do that job? There's a lot worse shit that you could do, like shovel coal, right? I think I'd rather sell my ass than shovel coal. All right, we'll keep it there. So creating these fucking reels, I'll tell you what, man, I try. I can't be doing this shit every day because then Instagram sucks my life, YouTube sucks my life, and I'm not a YouTuber per se, right? I'm on YouTube and I'm trying to monetize that as well, but I'm not trying to be this person who follows the crowd all the time, right? I think that there's a value in long form content. I think that to this day people still watch movies for a reason. And TikTok, yes, while it's great and it's fun to look at, I think that there's more of a value in a little bit of longer form content to really drive home the point of what the fuck you're trying to say. You know what I mean? Tea room report. Fucking slug bar, snail bar, going through some shit right now. Whirlwind of shit due to basically the managers were in the tip pool, the service charge tip pool. So the 20% service charge that is charged at the restaurants nowadays. And there's a lot of ways that it's defined. I think that people first impose this tax so they can pay the health care for the workers, right? So my thought on that is, if you're going to have a business, understand that you need to have medical insurance, right? And if you spend all your time on the ideation of the place and what kind of plates you're going to use, but then at the end of the day you don't have enough money in the bank to pay your fucking employees' health insurance, so then you bill the fucking people more money out the ass in the front just so you can cover that cost. Now, don't get me wrong, yeah, it is a cost, but I think that it's the business owner's responsibility to provide the health insurance and pay for it themselves and not take the money out of the fucking 20% service charge. The service charge should go to, and I'm not saying that's what Snail and Slug Bar did, all right? I'm just explaining certain situations. So in this situation, there was an employee. She was basically questioning management because they were getting tipped out and she thought that they were doing a little less work than her. Regardless, I think where they fucked up is they didn't tell people what the service charge was and what it was going to. If they were much more transparent about that, they wouldn't have gotten in trouble like they did. I think that people are quick to cancel people. People are quick to go on Instagram and fight in the comment section. I mean, the comment section for those posts were fucking wild, wild, wild west. People that don't know each other just arguing about this restaurant and this issue. Should the managers get tipped out? Fuck no. Never. Owners, managers shouldn't get tipped out. If you take the job of a manager, you know how much money you're fucking losing every year. But that's what you signed up for. Okay? So I don't think people should be upset at how they're treated at a job that they agreed to do all the things, right? And then it gets to be too much, or like, oh, I'm working too much. But at the end of the day, you knew what this takes. You know what this takes. Let's not lie to ourselves and say, I'm going to be a sous chef at a restaurant and work only 40 hours. That is like impossible. Because from the morning you wake up, you're fucking thinking about food. You're ironing your chef coat. You're writing your prep list. You're sharpening your knives, right? The shit's like 24 hours a day. And the ones that are going to be great are the ones that are doing that. The ones that slack off and, and I'm not saying you can't go out. Go out. Get hammered. But you better get home, iron your fucking chef coat, and sharpen your knives and be ready to go the next day. Write your prep list, And nowadays it's easier with all this fucking Google Doc shit. Like, come on, man. You got no excuse. But I think there lacks a bit of discipline in today's chefs, today's cooks that are coming up. Again, it's like they see TikTok, they see a guy make food at home, and he's a chef. And I don't think that we should mix those two. But also, I'm not going to sit here and be like, hey, you're not a chef. You shouldn't call yourself a chef. I don't think I'm that guy. But I definitely knew in my life when I wasn't one and when I am one now, So they're going through it. Shout out to Andres. They address the things on Instagram. I don't think that Instagram is a place for businesses to be addressing their issues. I think you do it on the website and maybe set up a link to it. But also, there's no need to explain yourself, to be honest with you. You made a mistake. You cover the wages lost or whatever the fuck that person wants. And you move on and you don't do it again. And you say, hey, we fucked up. We're sorry. Not, necessarily look at the employee and how they handled the situation, because you always will lose as the employer, right? There's no need to get wrapped up in drama. And I can see other restaurants like chiming in on the Instagram. It's like, bro, leave the Instagram comments alone, restaurants. Like, you are an establishment. You know what I'm saying? So just please be cautious of getting wrapped up in what they want us to get wrapped up in. They want to see a young brown restaurant owner fail and fall on his face. They want to see that. So let's not give in to them, and let's fucking show them what we can do and what we're made of, and that we're professional. Because at the end of the day, that's what we are. Professional. All right? So I think that they're getting over that now, and I'm going to go support them because I love Spencer, and I don't think that anybody was trying to be a bad person. I think that, people have issues every day, and sometimes you need to address them a certain way. So people will learn. If you don't want to go there, don't go there. But as far as me, I will still go there. The SF Chronicle today came out with a story about how his neighbor upstairs has issues with Snail Bar. So right now they're under fire, and a lot of people have it out for them right now, and that seems to be what happens. But also, if we're going to call out big white man Dan Barber, then we can call out short brown man fucking Andres. All right? That's just the way it be. That's life. Anyway, lots of love for both those dudes. I don't know about the Barber part, but hey, I don't know him. I don't know him, dog. I don't know. When he was 20 or however old he was when that shit happened, like, I don't know where he was at, And I think that a lot of times men make decisions out of cowardice, and years later when they're getting called out on it, instead of saying, hey, I'm a fucking coward, I fucked up, I'm going to write a poem instead. You know, just because we can't fess up to the shit that we did. Like I have thrown plates. I have yelled at people. I have thrown fucking, I don't want to call them temper tantrums, but I mean, at the end of the day, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? The only thing I had in my mind was the food. And the only time I would get upset is when mistakes that could have been avoided happen. When you knew better and it still happened. And I know that you can't control everything in the restaurant, and I think that that's what I was trying to do, and that's why it was so high-strung. And just recently I heard somebody talking shit, you know, telling the people that have worked with me in the past that, or new people that are working with them, telling them that I'm a fucking asshole, that I'm a yeller, and I used to do this, this, and that. But at the end of the day, man, all the people that work for me got respect, all right? And, yeah, I may have hurt a few feelings while calling something out. But, you know, that was never purposely meant to hurt someone on the inside. And I always, when I had issues, made sure to check in after. So I always had conversations with that person after the fact. And to this day, I know that I can literally talk to anybody that I've ever worked with and still have a decent relationship with them. All right? So stop with the fucking spreading lies out here, because you're going to get slapped, B. All right? That's for real. Sucio talk. Fucking. So that's that. Accolades awards. The other day, I fucking shit on James Beard's awards. Look, it's important, okay? It's important, and we need shit like that because for some reason, it just makes people better. It makes people want to shine. It makes people want to get the thing. Shout out to Angel Barreto and all the people that have won Food and Wine Best New Chef and Michelin Stars and James Beard Awards. Like, those are our Emmys. And I think that I have not been able to, I don't know them, you know, and I think that maybe I need to get to know them before I judge them on what they do. I never ran a fucking foundation. I don't do as much as they do for food, right? Sitting here on the fucking talking on my podcast, that's not enough. I need to raise money, right? I need to fucking give money. I need to get people educated and coach them. So I'm launching a career coaching actually on my website. So get at me. I'm going to start about $50 for the half hour, 30 minutes, $50 for all you young cooks out there. I'm not a fucking licensed therapist. So this is strictly career coaching. Okay, career coaching. Are you having trouble in a kitchen? Maybe I can help you find the why you're having trouble in the kitchen. You want to move on, but you don't know where to go, or you don't know how to do it. I can help you with that. You know, I consult for restaurants all the time. I'm doing dinners. I'm traveling. I'm trying to keep myself free. I'm a free gun, baby. I'm a gun for hire at all times. Okay? Past that, shout out to Chef Scott McTaggart. This dude works at Jade Chocolate. He's a chef at Jade Chocolate. That dude straight up is teaching his employees self-defense, so they could beat their assailants' asses. Because what's happening is there's a lot of Asian hate going on, especially in the Mission District in San Francisco. So this man is taking it upon himself to make a solution and actually enact it. Happens nowadays is we talk and we never enact a solution or a change. We just keep going and keep going and keep going. And frankly, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of that's the thing that happens. You know, there's issues that arise and everybody's pissed off for 3 days, and then another issue arises and everybody forgets the fucking thing they're mad about. So it's kind of upsetting to me to see that kind of thing, but that's what happens. That's the world we're living in right now. But Sucio will always be forever humble. So shout out to Scott McTaggart at Jade Chocolate for teaching self-defense to his fucking crew. Which brings me to my next point. There's value in getting punched in the face. All right, I feel like a lot of people out here they write shit, but they're not doers. You know what I'm saying? If you're out there and you talk your talk, you better walk the walk. That's always been and it always will be, right? So, as far as I'm concerned, some of these bitch ass haters out here never been punched in the face, so they feel like they can talk shit, right? But I tell you right now, I don't talk shit, B. All right? I'll talk my shit a little bit, but when I see you, I'm going to straight confront you and ask you what the fuck's up. You know what I mean? Because I'm here to solve issues. Not necessarily saying I'm going to challenge you to a fight right away. If it comes to that, it comes to that. But I feel like if we can't have a conversation about it, then don't have a conversation while I'm not there about it. You understand? Value of getting punched in the face. I've been punched in the face. First guy to punch me in the face, his name was Irang. 3rd grade. Irang punched me in the fucking face. First time ever. And I punched him back, and I crawled underneath the bus seats to the front. And I got away from him, and then I fucking flipped him off. So fuck him, all right? But I'm sure he's a great dad, you know, wherever he's at. So I think that's where we'll leave it, guys. The value of getting punched in the face, you know, immediately humbling. We used to be able to fight without gunfire. That's not the way it is anymore. So, you know, sad to see all the things that are happening in the world. But I also don't want to engage in the negative all of the time. Like, I'm a realist. Obviously, shit's going wrong right now. But I'm not going to be harping on that shit because we need to be more positive, right? Like, I understand that when you cook a dinner, there's so much waste. But that necessarily isn't going to stop me from cooking dinners and doing what I love. I just need to find a way to do it in a better manner that I'm not endangering the world and making shitty decisions, like throwing plastic away or whatever. And even when you order groceries, there's so many fucking boxes. You know what I mean? So it's like, but what's better? Drive to the fucking supermarket and put gas in the air? I don't know, man. It's like we're fucked if we do, fucked if we don't. You know what I mean? I got a bunch of episodes coming out, episodes that you guys have seen before. What I'm going to do is, because at the beginning I was going to do an intro for every single one and drop them every week, but from what I can tell, no one's actually listening to them because you've already listened to them, the people that are here, Sucio Talk, okay? So what I'm going to do is tell you right now, I'm going to drop from like number 7 to, 21 or something like that. It's just going to be back to back to back. There's not going to be any kind of crazy new content in the beginning. I think what I will do is make a commercial for Sucio Talk and put that at the beginning. I'm also looking for a theme song, so if anybody knows of a local metal band in Oakland that's willing to write some music for me, let me know. I can perform the lyrics. Sucio. Okay. Other than that, shout out to Greg Ryan from Bell's. Shout out to Chef Daisy. I met them when I was at Octavia. Trox shot some photos of us while we talked. The recorder I had at the time didn't get a very good audio recording of what we talked about. It was a great conversation, but I'm looking to go down there later this year to chill out and just get to know them a little bit better. So with that, I leave you. New episodes every Monday at 10. Sucio Talk Podcast. All right, we're young professionals, young food industry professionals. Say young. Young and old food industry professionals talking shop about hospitality, restaurants, food, beverage, and culture. So get your ass over here to Sucio Talk. Listen up. Listen to what we got going on. I got way more events that are happening this month for me, so I'm excited about that. If you need to book your boy Dave, I'm also a private chef. So let me know. We'll talk prices. We'll talk food. We'll talk menu. We'll talk service. And I can come over to your house and cook a dinner for anywhere from 1 to 60 guests. Let me know, B. I'm ready. I'm poised. All right? Other than that, Sucio Talk. Peace. Like I said, old episodes coming out throughout the week when I'm not busy. Mom's in town as well, so shout out to Jennifer Rodriguez and Clara Feliciano. They're actually about to be here right now, and we're about to go to dinner. So shout out to everybody that has blessed my life. And yeah, I'm excited. I got some news coming up about where I'm at in life and where I'm going. So I'm excited for that. And can't wait to share. Can't wait to blow this shit up, take over, travel, put airplane emissions into the sky. You know what I mean? Might as well, dog. You got to just live by any means at this point. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen, but you know, we're here. I'm here for it. I'm here for the world. I'm here to change. Right? I'm not trying to be the man that I was. And I think that that's coming along very beautifully. And I just want to be more open about where I'm at with the listeners of the show and life in general. I feel like in order to do this exclusive content shit too, it's going to have to be a lot more, intimate moments, me fucking waking up in the morning being like, oh, hey, how you doing? Who knows, though? Because I'm not trying to live in a reality TV show. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a reality TV show producer. So hopefully I can figure out what the fuck Sucio Talk means. Write me on suciotalk@gmail.com. Any interesting food stories that you might have about the kitchen, about the history of food, history of hotels, restaurants, any critics that you like out there, any magazines, Toothache Magazine, Nick Muncie, shout out to ULA. Other than that, peace, everyone. I love you all. Sucio Talk Podcast, #1 food podcast in the world. Check me out. Spotify. All right. YouTube. Let's get that subscriber list up on YouTube, baby. Other than that, new website coming out pretty soon. And I promise that my speech impediment will get better. I'm just roasting myself at this point. Anyways, I digress. You guys have a good week. Stay G. Drink water. Do some push-ups. I'll see you next week. Let me know if you guys, if I did a live show. Here's a poll. If I did a live show, what time would be the best time for me to start that live show? And if you give me Pacific time and Central time and shit, if that's where you're at. All right, don't be giving me 6 p.m. and then no explanation of where the fuck you're at, because that can be different. All right? Sucio Talk. Peace.